controversial subjects with the facts can be tense, but we are ASAP Science here to make things make sense.
All the names you can think of: knockers, tiggle bitties, jugs, boobs, cans, shreddies, juggernauts. Oh, melons.
Okay, you're about to
Tits.
listen to two gay guys chat about boobs for the next hour.
My favorite's tits. I feel like I've said this on this podcast like 5 times. I like calling tits. I like calling pecs tits. Like if a guy has tits.
You talk about tits a lot.
Yeah, tits is the best one for some reason to me. I like jugs.
Bazonkas, is that one?
Bazonkas. That's giving. Tig old biddies is like a weird one.
Is that common, or did you?
I think
hear
it's
that
from
somewhere?
a song or something. It's obviously a play on big old titties. But
Yeah,
I'm
obviously.
like, tig old biddies for some reason to me makes me laugh. Melons, knockers.
Well,
I actually could do this all day.
We're going to get into the science of this, obviously. And what are we really going to talk about? It's like, what is the evolution of boobs or breasts in humans and other animals? Like, obviously, many people know what their function is, but I think there's like some interesting science behind like why
Oh my God.
Homo sapiens have them. What?
So I was like, is one of the things that came up was old timey terms for breasts? I can't believe I haven't even said breasts yet.
I thought we said that.
Is that's what the science articles are all saying? They're using breasts.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah,
like
it's
being like the adipose tissue in the tits. Apples, globes, and lily white balls.
Lily white balls?
Like old. Oh, she's got a nice pair of lily white balls. Balls.
Balls?
That is gay. That's testicle.
Well, that was probably the gays of the day.
Boobs, breasts, tits, boobies.
Boobies.
Chest, bust, titties, knockers. Whoa.
Great.
Oh my God, another one. What are another name for breasts? And someone said they're also called mammary glands. Like,
that's
okay,
good.
let's get into the
Well,
science.
as that's what defines us as mammals, is that
Yeah.
we have mammary glands, and that's what connects us, which is really interesting, I think.
Kind of forgot about boobies. I think I said boobies a lot as a kid.
Like,
That
why?
I think it was like a 90s thing, like boobies. Because like when you're a kid, you're not going to say tits. That's like too,
Too aggressive.
I'm talking like actual kid.
Yeah.
Boobies
Oh,
is like the
we're-
kid version of saying boobs. And you obviously at certain points have to talk about them because as we're going to state here, they're all out there. Too.
Why is also like an injury for a kid also called a boobie? Isn't that what it's called?
Boob. Wait, no, it's not. A boo-boo.
A boobie.
Oh my God.
Okay, what about a
Oh
booby
my
trap?
God. Oh my God. You have a little boobie. Oh no. You have,
It's a
like,
boo-boo,
that's
you're right.
so you. You are so that. You always say things a little wrong. It's so cute. Like you are to your kid going to be like, oh, little boobie. And they're going to be like, you mean boo-boo, you freak? Okay, anyways.
Okay, where did we begin
Okay.
with this?
So the first thing that I want to talk about, which I did not realize, is that this person's question, shout out to you again. You're on our Pride Come Down episode. Love you. Thanks for the call in. And you said, why are tits big? But she does say that she's part of the itty bitty titty committee.
Uh-huh.
But she wants to know why some are big, some are small, etc.
Yeah, because there is a large range of sizes. Yeah.
But the possession of permanent adipose breasts that evolve like right at puberty and stay there is a uniquely human trait.
I know that.
I didn't know
that either until I was prepping for this.
Other primates only get their tits when they're pregnant and lactating, and then they lose them. Because I feel like I've seen a gorilla with tits. I've certainly seen a male gorilla with pecs and tits, and we don't want to get into why me thinking male gorillas are hot because that's a different show. But yeah, like I've seen primates with tits, but it's because they're pregnant.
So in humans, once females hit puberty, their
Development of
breasts
adipose
develop
tissue, yes.
and then stay.
And we're the only species that does that.
Whereas other mammals, like a chimpanzee, would in the latter half of pregnancy, right? Or
yeah,
like
I think during pregnancy it's like hormonal.
Their breasts would enlarge, but it would only be temporary.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that means this person's question is so valid and interesting. And when she asked it, I thought she was just being funny, but she's like totally like
that is
aware
so
of
peculiar.
something that is in no way I thought was only humans had that. Like Pamela Anderson is like
But you're right,
human.
when you think about it. Well, are Pamela Anderson's real?
Do not come for my 90s queen.
I've the
Also,
same
it doesn't
birthday as
matter if they're
her.
real or not. We're so canceled.
Wait, why?
I don't know, because I think I'm canceled because I just alluded to the fact that she might have fake tits as being bad, which is not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm wanting to know because you were like, they're so big, but I was like, obviously we should.
Okay,
address
maybe
if
they're fake.
I don't think it's bad if they're not real.
No,
I just was like curious about.
Actually,
this.
to be honest, it's like I love fake tits. Or like, right? Like that's most of the porn ones.
Well, isn't it the
I'm like getting
most?
Okay.
It's the single most popular cosmetic surgery you can have is a breast augmentation.
It also feels the most. I get what's going on here.
What do you mean?
Like when I think about plastic surgery, which horrifies me, it's like, okay, if someone's gonna cut my side tit open and put a little silicone thing, which I can even picture in my tit,
You can
close
imagine
it up. I can imagine that.
Yeah, and you're
When
kind of
people
like,
are
I could get rid of them at one point if I wanted to.
Yeah, it feels like, oh, just maybe cut them open again and take it out.
But whereas when it's like your
When
face,
it's like a nose job, I'm like, I don't even fathom what happens. Apparently, they break your they
it's
break your nose.
I know what you mean. You can like picture the breast augmentation.
Or they're like, oh, you're gonna get your
reduction.
eyes done. I'm like, I would rather die than anyone do anything to my eye. You know what I mean? Like, whereas like my tits, I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. Like they just feel easier to play with. So I get why it's the most. And obviously like tickle bitties like pressed up against like a shower wall is so hot. Okay, so anyway.
That fact though, but that you shared about other mammals not having this, it's like we actually don't, like scientists don't know why. Like there's a bunch of theories we're going to talk about, but it's like we actually don't know the reason why humans.
Well, I don't know. I found a really good study.
Okay.
I think I know.
So where do you want
why.
to start? Because I have a handful of like
let's go through the hilarious theories
of why humans have breasts that are large.
So one theory which I did laugh at, but it was all science terms, but I was giggling to myself, was that they gave babies something to cling to like handlebars.
Oh yeah, I came across that too.
Okay. So but then that's when I was like
handlebars.
Well, I was just like, what? Like swinging from the tits? Like, but then I was just like
swinging from the tits.
But that doesn't to me explain why humans would have tits all the time. Because it's like, oh, you could still have your tits when you were pregnant, post-pregnancy.
And then they go away.
Handlebar tits that leave when your kid becomes toddler. So anyways, this is not the real reason, but back in like the early 1900s, like some scientists like literally probably got like a shit Nobel Prize for being like, they're handlebars for kids.
Well, when you think about other primates, they have so much hair all over their bodies that their young often are on their back or they're often holding onto hair on them, and they have easier access to the breast.
Because we're so hairless.
Whereas humans also are not only hairless, but
no, we have hair. Sorry, it's just thin
like
and
it's
small.
a different kind of like you're not grasping onto people's hair on their
Yeah.
body.
You can if it's frickin' Tony
Humans
Soprano,
stand
baby.
upright, and so
Sorry.
a baby is typically carried on a hip. And then one of the theories was that boobs are bigger and more mobile in humans, so that the baby can actually still like get access.
So they're
to
on mummy's hip and holding on to tit.
I mean, like that's creating a very specific
That
image.
is so evolutionary biologists like phoning it in for their PhD. Like, yeah, I'm thinking it looks like a handlebar.
And it's also like on a hip, can a baby reach like? Not a mouth certainly can't reach a
yeah,
tit
and it's like,
from there.
or it can also just grab the arm. Okay, anyways. Other ones was... Actually, no, I don't even want to say that one because it's too close to the real one. You give me some other theories.
Oh, you know the real one? Okay.
Well, one that I think is really valid.
Okay, I'll go over my other ones then. So one other theory is the handicap theory of sexual dimorphism. So you know a lot of traits are like because of sexual selection to like impress your partner. This theory, which is obviously still, all these theories are like debated. It's not necessarily true. But the idea is that if you can put resources into something that actually doesn't have an advantage, it shows how healthy you are.
Like huge tits.
Yeah, so if you can have big tits, unrelated to like fertility and stuff like that, like unrelated to having a baby, then maybe it's showing potential partners that you're able to afford, quote unquote, like this extravagant signal because you have so many resources already.
Also, it's like even with fake tits, you still got to afford those too, baby.
Oh, true. Yeah, it is like but the problem with this theory is that look, they call these honest biological signals. So it's like if you're able to have fake boobs, it means like potentially you're supporting a bigger body, you're whatever. But they say not all honest biological signals are costly. Does that make sense? In terms of
say it
like,
again.
So like when an animal has, like it's obvious to think about
Like a big dick.
Yes, or say like there's certain traits that a human could have. Like think of even like an animal that has like big feathers or bright colored feathers. Like it costs resources to maintain something like
Male
that.
peacock
That's
vibes.
not necessarily going to keep them alive any longer, but it's going to help them with sex.
Yeah, I see.
But science has shown that not all of these kinds of signals are so costly. So just because like you can imagine that boobs might be costly, like this idea
they're not
of
that costly.
The handicap theory is like it doesn't play out everywhere in nature, so
Gotcha.
it may not actually be accurate.
Okay, it
here.
kind of relates to the other one, which is like the one I have is that permanent breasts evolved as an energy reserve.
Oh.
So they were lumps of fat to be tapped into when food is scarce.
But then why not in males as well?
Because women are way more important than men. That's true as mammals, and they need to breastfeed and care for their children.
So they
need
those
this extra sacks of fat because their survival is more important than the man. Because a man, all they are is a cum shot.
Well, I mean, mammary glands are amazing when you think about like primates mammals in general, like are able to provide for their young from their own body.
Men
if you
are
think of like birds that gotta go and catch like food and then regurgitate it back up to their young, they're not able to just like provide from their body, and that is an amazing adaptation. And in that way, it's interesting.
I mean, it is pretty cool that birds eat food and then barf it into their young. Like if women were doing that, I would also be amazed.
It's amazing, but
there is something cooler about the tit,
like being able to produce, like your body producing the food for someone else.
So cool. It's also so connection to the old times, like the fact that our current modern friends who scroll TikTok are actually feeding their kid through their tit.
It's so analog.
Like, yeah, and it's like that's actually what they did. Whereas like all we do as men is just like dumb shit. That's like, we have no connection to our past.
First of all,
except a cum shot.
Yes, but you shouldn't
hate men so much.
Okay, yeah, maybe that. And also, not all females will breastfeed in their life. True. And not all females can breastfeed
and
in their life.
And we're a gay guy and we adopt kid, we use formula.
So there should be room to like, this is not like the single most important thing. Obviously, it's beautiful.
Okay,
obviously,
it's
like
not the most important thing, but it's
birth
amazing.
And pregnancy and breastfeeding are beautiful.
Birthing is crazy.
Yeah, but not everyone can do it. And so it's like, it's not the most important thing of being female.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. No, it actually is so stupid and sucky, birth and breastfeeding. I'm kidding. I go so hard the other way.
I have a couple other theories, and then we can come back to this one that does seem more accurate. Or do you have more to say about it?
No, I was just going to talk about how I drink my friend's breast milk, so we should probably move on.
Well, I mean, I've actually never tried breast milk.
It's delicious. It tastes like oat milk. And I didn't get sick for a month after. I'm kidding. Well, it was such a nice gift. I really wanted to try it. And then I made cocktails. I've talked about this a lot, but it was really good. And it means that I have a really good friend.
That reminds me of the last episode where we were talking about why is sex taboo. There is part of me that's like, why is that so taboo? Like, obviously.
Oh, so much of my life is trying to figure out why things are taboo that I like want and like.
Because it's cute that like your friend was like, "I'll let you try it," but part of me is like, that's disgusting.
Everyone at the party was mortified, except for like my friends who were also similar to me, and we all just drank it.
I should have tried it, I guess.
Something feels invasive. I genuinely think we still need to do Catholic versus public school because I think a lot of your stuff comes from Catholicism.
You think?
Oh, yeah. Imagine getting baked by that shit until grade 12. That's insane. Catholic schools need to be absolutely burned to the ground.
Don't say that, Greg.
There you go. The Catholic school just popped out. Like, why not?
Maybe don't use the analogy of like burning to the ground.
No one's in them. You burn them and then you rebuild them as a public school.
No, it sounds violent when you're saying it.
Okay, fine. Maybe don't burn the actual buildings, but they all need... Every single Catholic school needs to be obliterated and kicked out, and it needs to become a public school where they don't teach horrible things that ruin people for lives. That episode's coming.
All right, we're moving on. There's a couple other interesting theories about why breasts may have evolved the way they did in humans. One was that it evolved to replace a swelling buttocks as a sign of ovulation.
What?
As a sex signal of ovulation. So, you know, like lots of monkeys have like swollen butts, I guess, once they're like...
That's what that is?
I guess. I don't know.
Like when you see like the Rafiki monkey with like the big swollen butt?
I actually don't really know.
Wow.
But obviously that is part of it.
Horses wink. They push out their vaginas and they go...
Yeah, but I'm thinking like maybe there's like an age of sexual maturity. Like obviously once a female breasts get larger, you know, like she's of a more mature age or whatever.
And that's
like
only in humans.
No, I know. But then maybe in other monkeys, there's like those other signals, like a swollen butt. And then a 2001 study actually found that the rounded shape of a woman's breast may actually prevent human babies from suffocating while they breastfeed. So human mouths, for example, like if you think of primates, their mouths protrude more than Homo sapiens do. Lots of
they're like so puckered.
But as humans have evolved, our jaws have actually like kind of shrunk and come
Yeah.
closer. But the risk is then when a baby goes to breastfeed that its nose gets plugged at the same time on a breast and it suffocates. And so the idea is that
That's
like
genius.
actually it was related to the face change of the baby that made like the human breast bigger.
See, this
around
one I
her.
want to give a Nobel Prize to. Not the one that it's a child handlebar. But like that's really cool because also like I'm so visually picturing like a monkey's mouth and it's so perfectly like could clasp on it.
Yeah. Like a dog. Like not
Whereas
like a
we
dog,
have, like,
but
dumb, weird jaws because we ate food. Like
well,
meat.
there's lots of different reasons that our face shape has changed, but we're also like an upright species, like the way that like I don't know.
We talk and talk and talk and talk.
No, here we are.
Imagine a monkey with a podcast. They should do that.
And just have them be going like
yeah, like no one would listen to
maybe
it.
monkeys would.
Okay, it feels like we didn't have an edible, but that's like an edible PhD
Yeah.
idea. Make a monkey
And,
do
like-
a podcast and then put the literal AirPods in the monkey and see if the monkey's like,
And they laugh and stuff.
yeah. I don't exactly know what you'd be proving. And like Jaden Goodall like might have done this, but
Well, because the difference is that monkeys don't have like a especially isolated monkeys in zoos don't have like a greater communication like of society. Like we all speak the same language, but like a monkey in a zoo might speak a totally different language.
wait, is that real?
What?
I'm like actually like we need to do a monkey episode. I thought a chimpanzee would speak the same as a chimpanzee.
Not if they never like grew up
Wait,
together.
you think like a chimpanzee just is like, "Rah," and the other one's like, what are you saying?
yeah,
like
if they don't know each other. They
Wait.
don't like the same way that if you go and talk to
Am I,
somebody
like,
who doesn't speak
actually an
English,
idiot?
like your language, the way you
Oh, yeah.
communicate
Okay,
depends on
true.
where you were raised and what community and culture. And I just am thinking of like, obviously communities of like chimpanzees in the wild will communicate in the exact same way. But I bet if you take a chimp from somewhere else in a zoo, it wouldn't like communicate the same
But
way.
okay, that's true. But what a chimp would know to do is to suck the tit of the mom, no matter what.
Yeah, of course.
So,
There's
and
like-
it would always be like that mom's pregnant because their tits are out.
yeah, there's things that we would even know as humans and
Yeah.
they would know about humans. And anyway, I just
Well,
meant,
I
like,
need to
meant
know
like
more.
I meant
I
if you
need
put
to
a
know more.
podcast of a chimp in another's ear,
That's-
they'd have to like be familiar with each other.
That's gonna be my summer reading, which is like some sort of like chimpanzee. Like there's probably so many chimpanzee books.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jane Goodall's is good too.
Animals are so cool.
I know.
Every now and then I'm like, shoot.
Should we be an animal? We are.
Like or like go into research or something. Like get off this godforsaken internet and be in the real world and like
Mitch, that would
work
be
at a-
so good
work
for
at a zoo
you.
or something like that.
I honestly could so picture you as that.
And also, I know zoos can be awful, but the Toronto Zoo is
Like a really
allegedly
good
quite
zoo?
Yeah, a zoo that supports.
No,
like,
you should go
research
study
and-
like a frog species in the Amazon.
That would be cool too. That's what I mean to like be interacting with real life.
I know.
To
We love you all and
instead
thanks
of-
for listening, but like, what are we doing? Okay, so do you have any more? Because I'm going to go into the one that I think is real.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay.
Those were the main theories
So-
that I came across.
This study, recent study, 2021, my
Oh,
Trump, 2021, proposes that breasts appeared as early as the Homo ergaster,
Okay.
which was like, oh God, there's so many homos. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. what
There's
that one is.
so, well, gay
In
guys
Toronto? So many homos.
So many gay guys, but so many, like when you go to Pride and you're like, okay, like there's just a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot of gay people. Like this is insane. Anyways, there's so many versions
Same
of
feeling when you're
homos.
looking at
Yeah, that it's
the
kind of
history
like,
of the Homo sapiens and
it's a little like, seems like too many. But anyways, Homo ergaster, never even heard of her. That's 1.5 to 1.9 million years ago. So they think they evolved then, the tit, the breast.
wow. So to like put it in perspective, most like evolutionary biologists would estimate that Homo sapiens are like 100 to 200,000 years old.
Yeah, we're talking 1.5
So now we're at
to 1.9 million years
so we're
ago.
like really far away. Yeah.
So they think that they evolved these like subcutaneous fat tissues in response to thermoregulation in the body, because they would be an increase in energy storage, which increased estradiol levels. And they also think it had to do with meat consumption at that time too. It was when
Meat?
we started to eat meat.
Oh. Okay.
They think because when you eat meat, there is hormone levels changes in humans. like what you eat does change your hormones. And so around that time, they started to eat meat, which increases a specific hormone called the dehydroepiandrosterone. Someone can definitely fact check and try one more time. Dehydroepiandrosterone.
Cool.
Someone who is like a PhD student like does know what that is. Synthesis. So that synthesis of that hormone will increase when you eat meat. So they think they start eating meat then. It's converted, that hormone, in parts of like your body using different biochemicals that causes fat accumulation in the breast tissue.
Okay.
So they're like, when they started to eat meat, there's actually a hormone that gets released that biochemically reacts in humans that creates fat accumulation in your breasts.
Right, but how does that have to do with like puberty? And why would it only express at the age of puberty?
Yeah, true. Well, they said because then essentially that would maybe start happening. Fat tissue starts like appearing. And then they're like, it becomes advantageous because it's also when people started to move to environments that were colder. So it would help with thermoregulation of the body to have more fat. And then there would increase energy storage. And then they said it could also, this is when we get into the other theories, co-opt for other functions such as attracting mates because it's a biological indication of health, etc. That would be the more puberty one. But I thought it was so cool that they're like, someone was smart enough to be like, wait, when you start to eat meat, it could have changed the hormone and the way that fat is held in a human's body.
But why not in a man?
That's when it would have to be for some other reason. Although they actually said that this hormone does affect women differently than men.
Okay.
And also,
then why only in a mature woman?
It is a good thing to start thinking about what happens to your body when you eat meat and go back to when Homo sapiens started eating meat. I thought that was a smart connection.
Yeah, well, okay.
As to where it actually would have come from rather than just like, oh, they just tits appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's very interesting for sure. I hadn't come across like when they believed breasts started evolving, or maybe it was. I remember seeing something like 1.8 million years ago or something.
Okay, well then maybe it's that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this study said.
Maybe that's why they're like looking at that time. Because
yeah, I just thought that was the most like scientifically accurate to like why tits came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The meat consumption actually having a hormonal impact on how fat is accumulated in the body is really interesting.
Totally.
And then when it comes to itty bitty titty versus medium bitty titty versus large bitty titty, they've done studies on preferences and it's super interesting. And it's not like large tits are the preference for everyone. It's actually quite evenly distributed.
Yeah, I actually read that medium-sized breasts are rated as statistically the most attractive.
Yeah, whereas it was
despite people thinking that large breasts
was
are
it the
always...
90s? There's something about the 90s that was just like huge Austin Powers knocker titties like bouncing. Like that's definitely not the way it is right now.
Yeah, I don't think so. Although like what studies have found is that people spend more time observing large breasts. So like your eye, it's like something to do with the hip to width ratio or whatever. Like, so that's what maybe makes people think that big boobs are more desirable.
Because they're looking at my knockers.
Yeah, there's like a spread preference of them with like medium-sized breasts being typically the most.
Do you think it's similar for guys? Because like every guy wants to have like huge tits. Like, do you think that girls just like...
Do you mean like pecs? Or do you mean... Okay.
Sorry, pecs. Like, do you think that like girls only like big pecs or do you think they like medium?
I don't know.
Because pecs are also like in your face. Like they are like, you see them under a shirt and it's like...
Yeah, but I think that most men are performing for the male gaze, and actually I think a lot of girls don't care that. Like obviously many girls
It's insane how gay men are, like straight men. It's like,
I saw
you're getting
video.
pecs for your friend named Frank, like you're gay. Like those pecs aren't even for the girl.
Well, I guess it is
so
ostensibly,
weird.
but I just think that there are lots of girls who are like, I'm not asking you to have like a steroided up body look.
Yeah, that's actually so gross.
That's very like gay community vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually know. I obviously
Wait, you saw a
like
study about what? About gay guys and tits?
No, I didn't see a study. I saw a TikTok of a straight guy who was like, gay guys, I was at Pride, like, what the fuck is going on with your bodies? It's insane. I've never felt more out of shape in my life. And it was like a young, fit guy who was just like, it's crazy how all of you are so jacked.
It actually is crazy. Like, whenever I go to the beach, I'm like, I mean, we've done lots of episodes on it, but it's not, it's giving unhealthy. Like, it's funny. It's like everyone's performing healthiness, quote unquote, but it's like actually everyone looks sick. Okay, so anyways.
No, not everyone looks sick, but yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean, that it's like, I'm sure lots of it comes from an unhealthy place for everyone.
Yeah. There's a lot of like insanely fit bodies that look unhealthy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's definitely like a balance of what health looks like. It's okay. So when it comes to huge knockers, there are like the study found that there are preferences for big ones that like fall under like certain reasons why. For example, culture.
Okay.
Brazilians prefer larger breasts as opposed to Czechs who preferred smaller breasts.
Oh, okay.
It's like, that's so funny. That's so Brazil. Sexual habits. So people who are in short-term non-committal relationships and who like have not been in long-term relationships prefer large tits, which is like kind of funny. And then body image. People who rated themselves, like men who rated themselves as more attractive, preferred larger tits. So it was almost like they like
thought they were owed it.
Yeah. And then sexist attitudes, like men who had more sexist attitudes towards women on the survey preferred larger tits. And then hunger. Hungry British men liked bigger breasts than their fed counterparts. Which is such a good study.
That is so weird.
Like they like took like a, what is seemingly like,
because like I'm really hungry right now and I'm like, do I want a bigger dick, or like how does it affect?
it's just not the same because it's like you can't just go from breast to dick.
No, I know. I'm just like laughing thinking about that.
Okay, well the closest you could get is like when you get hungry, do you want like a muscle man with big tits?
I couldn't tell you, but when I'm hungry, like the last thing I'm thinking about is like sexuality or like sex.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I'm like,
okay, so
I'm starving.
do you like breasts?
Sure, yeah, but I don't have like a crazy attachment to them.
Do you have like breasts or butt?
Oh,
We're doing
are we
girl,
talking about
girl
men?
first, and then we'll do guy. Breast or butt?
I think in a girl, I like breast, and in a man, I like butt.
Whoa.
Like, I don't actually know. Both can be amazing. But like, I would rather a man.
Both can be amazing.
So it's easier for me to answer the man, because if a man had, like, I'm trying to think if they
Like
had
tit versus
zero
ass.
of the other and a good, like if a no chest muscle.
Ooh, that's a good way to think about it.
And a big butt, or like no butt and a big chest. That one's funnier and weirder. I couldn't. If a man had
Yeah.
like an amazing chest but no butt, without an excuse.
I know one.
Then I think I would.
And I think he's really hot, but he just does. I know one. Actually, no
I mean,
what?
I guess it just
a
depends.
lot.
I don't want to judge people's
of
bodies
gay
like
guys.
this. Because
Is this bad?
all body? No, I think we're just trying to have fun.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm always the one who's like.
I'm like so scared. I'm like, well, gay guys have the issue of all upper body, no lower body, because they go to these things called circuit parties and no one looks at each other's legs. So that does happen. And there's someone who I know who I find really hot, and his tits are huge, and he's so jacked, but he has no butt. And it's not a deal breaker, but it's certainly like an interesting proportion.
I guess now that I'm thinking about it, like girl butt too, but I just
Yeah.
don't like sexualize girls that much. So
I'm girl butt as well. Because girl butts are amazing. Like they
Yeah,
can do
girls are
things that
so
like
strong.
men butts can't. Like a really nice man butt is like one specific like thing.
Right.
Whereas a really nice girl butt, it's like, oh my God, there's so much more there. There's so much more to play with. They can go up, they can go down, they can go side, they can get so big, but then they still have like fat on them to be so sexy and bouncy. Whereas like,
and they really do look amazing in those
Amazing.
like leggings or
Leggings.
whatever.
I
Like
know.
girls at the gym that do that, I'm like, I'm not sexually turned on, but I'm just like,
literally go to Equinox and I'm like, I cannot believe that this is what women wear. Like, I would be semi-hard the whole time if every guy was dressed like this.
Yeah.
They wear those form-fitting whatever, and then they don't wear a top. They wear a skinny little like sexy
Like tube top
ass
thing,
tube
yeah.
top. It's so hot.
or just like a bra.
I'm like, yeah, and like I'm like, I don't even know what the equivalent of a guy version of that would be. Like them wearing briefs and like
yeah,
no shirt,
Yeah.
but like just a tube. It would be like that, I guess. And like, that's crazy.
that's like what guys wear to
You see
Pride.
so I'm just like, I know it'd be gay guys at Pride. I'm just like amazed that all these guys just get to like work out around all these girls. They're so
looking
hot.
so sexy.
And
yeah.
I go to Pilates with them, and I go to Pilates with the hottest girls in Toronto you've ever seen. It's the best.
Yeah, I don't think like it would matter to me if a girl didn't have big boobs.
No,
but
me
also,
neither.
but there's part of me that's like, oh wow, boobs are so fascinating.
And they're
as
so
well.
hot too.
Yeah.
It's like obviously it's like bonus, but it's not be all end all. Same with ass. Like, no.
I think it's interesting that almost most girls have one boob that's bigger than the others. It's usually the left, apparently.
Wow.
And 25% of females have one that is significantly or obviously bigger than the other.
Yeah, I have friends who like always.
I've never as a man, I've never noticed one being bigger than the other unless a friend was like, see, feel it. Like, look, this one's bigger.
Yeah.
But I thought that's interesting because probably most
Well, I guess the
girls are aware of
bra,
that.
if you're wearing a bra, like kind of like pushes
I
it
guess,
into,
yeah,
like
it's like
a,
forming it in a way that's partially
well,
not
like
real.
we probably have that with balls. Like my one ball's droopier than my other.
It's always the same one.
Yeah, my left.
Is it really?
Well, I don't know. Now
I just
I'm
thought like
making
maybe
this
they
up.
do this, like up and down, up and down.
You think my
switching
balls are
sides.
just moving up and down all the time?
That's what they do.
Not like that. Like when left to their own volition. There's one.
Yeah, but I'm
that's-
saying like one might sometimes be higher than the other, and then later be lower.
Yeah, like when I'm like in a cold lake.
No, I don't mean that. I bet if you actually looked at it, sometimes your left one would be lower, and sometimes your right.
Wait,
one
are
would
you
be lower.
serious?
Well, I don't know.
I think I do
actually.
need to pay more attention to my balls, just for like cancer.
And they're
screening.
perfectly symmetrical, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, good lord.
Okay. Breast size and other characteristics do not predict the fat to milk gland ratio
Oh.
or the potential for a woman to nurse an infant. So it's important to
good to
know
know.
if you have itty bitty titties or if you have giant tits, you're no better or worse at being able to breastfeed or take care of an infant in that way.
Interesting.
Obviously, the size and shape is like influenced by a lot of things, whether that's your hormones, your genes, weight loss or gain, whether you're pregnant, whether like there's lots of reasons why even in your own life your boobs might get bigger or smaller. But between women, there's like tons of variation for that reason. And well,
Whoa, that's actually
same
so
with men, like
interesting.
and penises, right? Like there's a huge variation in size.
But it's interesting to think that like your dick or your balls could change size based on your weight or like that doesn't happen.
True,
right?
yeah, because boobs in particular carry like fat
Yeah, it's
deposits
really
that if you're
interesting.
losing weight, your body will change.
Like your dick. Wait. Yeah, your dick can never like get smaller from losing weight, right?
I don't think so.
We've done so much research on penises. How have we not? Like, I guess
Because
we
I don't
would,
think
I guess
I
we
don't think
would,
your
yeah.
dick has that much fat.
There's no
in it.
fat.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't like
interesting.
store energy for you. And then a common myth, people worry about like saggy boobs as they age. Obviously that like can play a part. But the common myth is that breastfeeding causes sagginess, which it doesn't.
Oh,
What
interesting.
actually causes breast sagging, one of the main causes is cigarette smoking.
Wow. Damn. Like, they
Number
were-
of pregnancies does impact it. Gravity and weight loss or gain.
gravity. I love science. Like, of course, they're going to be like, and
Well, just over
gravity.
time, I think that's why it's like they're
Yeah.
getting,
No,
they're getting pulled
obviously
down.
it's gravity. But I just like, I love that it has to, they're smoking, number of pregnancies, gravity.
It was on the list.
Our balls do get droopier, right? Too.
I guess that's what people say.
Because I'm just like, we also sag. I mean, our tits are going to sag too.
I wish my balls were more saggy.
Well, just gravity and
Exactly.
age.
I just
get
gotta
there.
wait. That's all I really have to say.
Cool.
About boobs.
I love the question. Thank you so much for it.
It was a great idea.
And yeah, it was actually like so fun to research. And
I hope listening to two guys talk about boobs was what you expected.
I feel like it probably was.
Yeah, if you made it this far.
Like I'm like Pamela Anderson is like my like one.
She's great.
Oh, she's so cool.
Yeah. Quintessential easy scapegoat for gay guys being like, Pamela Anderson's hot.
Yeah, I literally did that. I had like a poster. And she is cool now. Canadian, you know.
Yeah.
We always come through in the end as cool.
Okay, let's take a little break and then we'll come back for some extra science of the week.